Hey team, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a grammatical gem that adds a touch of elegance and ownership to our sentences. Apostrophes to mark possession. So whether you're a wordsmith in the making or just looking to fine-tune your language skills, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the mysteries behind possessive apostrophes, share some golden rules, and equip you with the knowledge to wield them confidently. So with that in mind, let's dive into it. Why use apostrophes and what are they? Well, apostrophes are used in the English language for two primary purposes. That is to indicate possession and to create contractions. So when we're indicating possessions here, let's take singular nouns as an example. So an apostrophe is followed by an S, and that is added to indicate possession. For example, the dog's collar is blue. So that there shows possession, and that's through singular possession. Or let's take another example. Sarah admired the artist's intricate brushwork. So again, I hope you can see how that works with singular possession. Apostrophes are used to show that something belongs to someone or something else. For example, let's take singular nouns. An apostrophe followed by an S is added to indicate the position. For example, the dog's collar is blue. Now for plural nouns ending in S, the apostrophe is placed after the S. For example, the cat's toys are scattered everywhere. And then finally, for irregular plural nouns that don't end in S, the apostrophe is followed by an S. For example, the children's laughter echoed through the park. So using apostrophes accurately is crucial for clear communication and proper grammar in written and spoken language. So in today's video, I'm going to be presenting you with 10 sentences. It is now your duty to complete the sentence choosing the correct possessive forms. So let's get started. So this is something house. So we now have to select one possessive form. Are we going to say this is Peter house or this is Peter's house? Now we've got 3 Peters, but we don't know which Peter to select. Well, if you had selected Peters with the apostrophe before the S, then that is correct. Now, how did I know this? Well, to form the singular possessive, you have to add apostrophe S to the end of the word. So just as I mentioned previously, we have children's, and that's the apostrophe S, and that's because it's a singular possessive form. So for this case, this is Peter's house. So that's P-E-T-E-R apostrophe S. And one more example could be teacher or teachers. So that's one teacher, remember that, where we have apostrophe S. Okay, let's go for the next one. The toys were scattered on the floor. So now we know it's the boys' toys. But again, if it's the boys' toys, that seems like a plural possessive. So that means there's more than one boy. So for that reason, we go for the one on the top right. And that's where we add the apostrophe after the S. Once again, if it's more than one dog, we'd have the singular, which is dog, and we'd have the plural form, which is dogs, and the apostrophe goes after the S. Marvelous work. Let's go to the next one. Peter's and Mary's houses are in the same village. So again, we have Peter's and Mary's. So we now know that for individual possession, you must add apostrophe S. And if it's plural, we add the apostrophe after. So here, one house belongs to Peter and the other belongs to Mary's. So for that reason, it's the top right option. So again, that's 2 singular possessive forms. I hope you're getting a hang of this. And remember, pause the video at any given time, attempt the question, and then press play when you're ready to go. Okay, question number 4. His mother-in-law's favourite hobby was photography. So, what do you think this could potentially be? Now, with singular and plural compound words, remember to add the apostrophe s to the last word to construct the possessive form. If the compound word needs to be in the plural, form the plural first and then add the apostrophe s. So for this particular answer, it's going to be mother-in-law's, which is the bottom left. Well, how did we know this? Well, we've got singular, which is mother, and we have a plural, which is laws. And it's the same case where we say his 2 sister-in-laws. So you can see here that we add the apostrophe s to the last word, which is laws, and that constructs the possessive form. So with that in mind, let's dive into the next question. The assistant asked the couple if they wanted the men department or the women's department. So what is it going to be? The men's department, men department, or the women's department? Well, the correct answer is men's, women's. And that there is going to be the one on the bottom left. Now, the reason being is that the assistant would obviously use the plural possessive form. And don't forget, irregular plurals add apostrophe s to the end of the plural form. So I hope that is clear. Let's now go ahead and dive into the next one. The children's room is beautifully decorated. So again, if you notice that there is an irregular plural, hence we add apostrophe s to the end of the plural form. So our answer would be children's here. And again, an example would be man to men's, as we saw in the previous question, or woman to women's. Marvelous work. Okay. The girls' showers were not working. So we now know that we're working with a plural possessive. So we add apostrophes after the s. So we now know there's more than one girl. And let's take a look at another example as well. We could have the word professor. Now, if there's more than one professor, then we would have professors. And the apostrophe goes after the s. So be on the lookout for nouns ending in, let's say, consonants, and as well as those ending in y. And I've got another example here for you. So let's go ahead and just remove professor for now. Let's go for the word baby. So in the case of the word baby, the plural would be babies, which would be IES. It wouldn't be BABYS. But why so? Well, it's because the possessive form of the plural does not allow it to be babies with a YS, but babies with an IES. And that is because the Y changes to IES in the plural form. And that's the same case with the word fairy and fairies. And then fairies is seen as plural, but if you put an apostrophe after the S, that becomes a possessive. Alrighty. Moving on. Peter's and Mary's house was built in the 18th century. So now, if the object belongs to the same possessors, then we need to only put an apostrophe S at the end of the last name. So for that case, it would be Peter and Mary's. So Peter and Mary's house was built in the 18th century. So again, I hope you are making notes of the different types of questions that we are being exposed to. So the next time you see something like this, you know exactly what to say. Alrighty, moving over to the next question. So, Mr. Jones' house is very impressive. So this answer is the most common form, and it's used when you pronounce the possessive form of Jones. And that's with an additional IZ sound, Jones. For example, Jones' car. It would be appropriate if you pronounce it like Jones's car. So I hope you can hear the is sound. Let's say it one more time. So we'd have Jones' car, but it would be appropriate if you pronounce it like Jones's car. And that's the most common form. But if we were to have Jones with apostrophe after the S, this form is used when the singular noun already ends with an S sound. It's considered acceptable, especially in British English, or according to certain style guides. So to omit the extra S after the apostrophe is also something to look out for. And then we could say something like Jones's car. And that would be suitable. And again, if you were to pronounce it without the additional is sound. So ultimately, whether you use Jones or Joneses, it depends on your preferred style and the way you pronounce the word. But both forms are correct and accepted. Okay, with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into the next and final question. It is the people's right to have the vote. So the correct answer here would be people's on the bottom left. And here, people is considered as a single group of individuals. So, you guessed it right, it's a possessive form, so we add the apostrophe S. And that there brings us to the end of our video. From showing who owns what, to adding that extra flair in your writing, these little punctuation marks have a big impact. So remember, the possessive apostrophe is like a key that opens a door to clearer communication and more engaging storytelling. So the next time you're crafting a sentence, let those apostrophes work their magic. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more language adventures. Keep shining bright with your newfound possessive prowess, and until next time, keep on mastering the art of language. But hey, I forgot another thing. Halloween bingo! As we all know, Halloween is coming up. Get ready for the spooktacular adventure with apostrophe bingo. So in this particular game, I want you to test your apostrophe skills while enjoying the Halloween spirit. Now, you can see we have different cards with different links to Halloween. What I would like you to do is aim to make sentences with these. And remember, I'm more than happy for you to enter these sentences into the comment section below. For those who get the most spooktacular sentences, you might get a shout out or you might get featured on our next video. But with that in mind, keep up the great work and I'll see you in the next video.